go search the database, and it seems so easy for us users, right, Don? But you guys are back there every day tracking things. So let me turn it over to you, and thanks everybody for being here.
And thank you, David. Get this up here. Good. Well, welcome everyone. April recap. We're already in May. It doesn't seem possible. 5 months into the year, or fifth month into the year. April was another good month in terms of number of companies, even though the dollar amounts went down a little. So we're now looking at $18 billion year to date going into VC. And you can sort of compare it against the annual for last year, for the year before, and then for our big whopper 2021. So over the last month, we've seen smaller rounds, more in number. And part of that, a large part of that, goes to Y Combinator because they had their demo day and 200 some companies go through that, each of them having received approximately $500,000. In addition to that, we continued to see not as many new rounds as people doing extensions, people doing bridge rounds, both of which are a way of getting by having to set a new valuation, but getting needed money in the door. We also saw more acquisitions. We've seen a steady stream of acquisitions for the last month. Partially pushed by the public market. Market is good. And on the other side, there's a lot of the companies that got money, 21, 22, they're running out. And acquisition is one of those ways that if you can't raise money, you get out of the bind. We also saw in April a couple more tech IPOs go out successfully. So right now we have Astera Labs, we had Reddit, Rubrik went out this last month, and all three of those are trading either above or very near to their IPO price. So we're starting to hear a lot of words about the IPO window having cracked, maybe a little bit more than cracked. So we're expecting to see more IPOs, although not a flood of IPOs. Let's go on from here. So interesting breakdown this month. We saw a lot more money going into software. And the driver for that is now all of the companies that are doing artificial intelligence in their application. So this isn't the pure AI. You may remember last month we saw AI take up a very substantial chunk. There were big rounds going out to the AI companies. This month, what we're seeing is a lot of the application companies, and in particular, those targeting enterprise software and AI in different areas drove that 1 billion there. And over on the other side, biotech, as we'll see when we get to the big deals, there was literally a $1 billion Series A out to a biotech company, which, needless to say, pushed that number way up. And one of the things that we're starting to do now is look at who is investing where, how much, and both by number as well as by frequency. And I ran a quick investor analysis. I took clean tech as an example. We had 6 clean tech fundings this month. And out of that, we came up with the second one, really no surprise. YCOM, obviously, with 200 some companies going out the door, has funded, and clean tech being one of their focuses, has funded a large number of clean tech oriented. But the first one is a investor out of our area, Collaborative Fund. And as you can see, they made 2 investments out of the 6 companies. This is something we'll be looking at more as we go forward this year and see where exactly we have the strongest investors and in what sectors they're focusing their time. I didn't get a chance to do this for Web3, but next month I'll do an investor analysis for Web3. So our Web3 aficionados have a sense for who's putting money in there. So mega deals, this is the money that's going out single rounds to a single company, over 100 million in a round. Not surprisingly, a lot of this went out to AI. Two in particular, Revos and Blaze. This is more in the funnel of companies that are optimizing the ecosystem around AI. So you've got AI, you have tremendous draw on compute, you need a lot of power. It's one of two things. It's either you're going to do more with what you have, or you have to get something new, more powerful. So there's optimized chips, there's optimized firmware. We'll talk a little bit more about this later, but every element within that architecture, within the computer, they're looking at how can we make it handle more faster. Yeah. On the other side of things, we had security continues to be a focus in funding. This was 150 million Series E. And one thing you'll notice as you look at these series, most of them this time around are later stage versus last month where we had almost half of the mega deals were a Series A, early stage, in AI for that matter. But we're seeing more later stage funding, which is a good sign. And out of these, we saw, for enterprise and building AI applications, Cohesity, Aerospike, Rippling, they pulled in excess of 400 million, the four of them. And on the other side, again, this goes back to the applications using AI. You had augment computing and you had condition AI, both of whom are building a different take on an AI software engineer. More AI, less human. And then the biotech I mentioned to you, Zaira Therapeutics, they got $1 billion in their Series A, early stage, and they are totally focused on using AI to change the way drugs are discovered and developed. So the common thread in all of this is AI and putting it to better use. So now we talk about how much of that 4.5 billion went to women-led companies. Not a lot. We're a little bit down this month to 4.4%. And the biggest driver here is that women got very little of the later stage funding. Out of the 14 women-led companies, there were 3 Series B, less than 200 million aggregate. There were 1 Series A, and everything else was seed, and they're smaller rounds. So numerically, it's all towards the early stage for these companies. And let's take a quick look at some of them. A big thread for women-led companies this month was med and femtech. You have Pink DX focusing on ovarian cancer. You have MIDI Health going after midlife hormonal change. And you have bone health technologies. Now, even though you wouldn't classify bone health technologies as femtech, low bone mass is more common in women than it is in men. And they're focused on postmenopausal women. On the other side, we see, one of the pure AI companies, Prem AI, CEO and founder is a woman. And one of the continuing trends in AI that we see is different types of models being built. This happens to be an open source company. So they're building open source, they're building small language models. And they got 14 million for their seed round, which is a large seed round, but reflects the extra costs that come with working in the pure AI arena. Pardon me. Another application of AI, Ducky AI. I'd like to know how they came up with that name. But again, an AI support engineer, if you will, sitting on the engineering team. And finally, another woman-focused professional network. There's 2 or 3 of these that have come out in the last few years. Most of them have been focused towards board member, CEO, high-level founder. The new club focuses on senior level, but women in engineering. We'll have handout notes on this, so you'll be able to click through and look at all these companies in detail. And there are just a few other companies that I thought were worthy of notice. For the clean tech arena, Windfall Bio is doing some really neat stuff in converting methane emissions into organic fertilizer. They got a 28 million Series A. On the other side of clean tech, you've got Chemex using generative AI for battery manufacturing. Again, AI going to thread through not all, but most of these companies. Asher Bio doesn't say here, but they're using AI to identify exactly which of their therapies goes after which of the particular infection or disease cancer cells they're fighting. Magnetic Insight is one of the few that came out this month that did not focus on AI as being part of their development. They're doing something that will, if it comes through, replace nuclear medicine scans and be safer in the at the same time. Moving over to the other side, for those of you in Web3, money started to flow to Web3 again. Web3 and crypto, we saw 8 different companies this month get funded in that arena. Blue Whale happened to stand out with what they're doing. It's not a fintech. They're focused on being able to use their protocol to personalize Web3. But of course, they're using AI as part of that. And the other area of AI that gets much less focus, actually, is computer vision. And Lumana is focused on computer vision and implementing that in security so that rather than having individual people watching video to identify oncoming problems or problems in real time, you've got an AI that's trained to do that. So they got 24 million in their seed round. Again, the size of the round is indicative of the extra cost in developing the AI, as well as the extra potential for the market. So all of this information we put together, Bob and I, in the course of our research each day, funded companies, executive moves, M&A and exits, and that's all published as part of Pulse of the Valley weekday newsletter. And whoop, I got ahead of myself there. Everything that goes into that newsletter goes into our database. We've got more than 21 years of detailed data, business intelligence in the Valley. And that's investors, that's fundings, that's the people that run both of the companies and move back and forth between them frequently. We also offer pulse alerts. So if you don't want to read through our newsletter in detail, we'll send you just the information you want, either real time or daily summary. For the entrepreneurs in the audience, if you're starting a company, if you're in the middle of raising around or thinking about raising around for a company, we're now offering a special entrepreneur membership, just $6.99 a month. And that ties into our new fundraising platform. It's called Flexible Fundraising. It gives you 3 different options on how you can raise funds: self-serve, assisted, or fully assisted in finding investors. You'll have links where you can find more information on this, but if you're looking at raising around, you're raising around, come on over, take a look, and maybe we can talk some more on that. So that does us for April, and hope to see you back here now in June. It's June 7th, Friday, June 7th, first Friday. David, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Dawn. Yeah, just a ton of info that we all have to digest, I'm sure. Does anybody have any questions for Dawn or Bob? Or me about any of that? I think those small language models are certainly something to watch coming up. Just yeah, anyway, keep an eye on that. Edmund, go for it.
Yeah, I have, and Don and I, it's good to see you again. We spoke about this in a breakout room a number of weeks ago, but AI is generally used as a blanket term. I tell people I've been using AI for 40 years because of my industries. So I'm glad that you began to break that out, Dawn, as you know, what industries are doing what. Do you have even more detailed information about how artificial intelligence is being applied and what sectors it's being applied in?
Experientially, from what we're seeing come through on the fundings, more than that, it's almost a reading through what each company is putting out there and what they're doing in that regard. The notes today, or the notes that we'll hand out, I was just looking at, I can't see how to upload them, David, but we'll pass them out afterwards. Go through, you know, a little bit on the what's happening in AI, the large language models, small language models, where it's being applied, and that might go to what you're looking for, Edmund. So take a look there. Also, there's a great report out of Stanford earlier this month, and that goes into a lot of detail about where they're seeing, where their researchers see. And the real focus here is generative AI with a side vision on computer vision.
Yeah.
But generative AI is driving most of this.
Okay.
So
Well,
take
you
a look
could
at
use a
that, see if
keyword.
that answers some questions.
Don,
I'm sorry,
couldn't you
Bob, what?
couldn't you just go in by keyword and put a couple of keywords of something vertically he's interested in, and it'd pull up a bunch of companies?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just overall focus, or being able to say this sector's using that, that's a little bit harder, Edmund.
Right, for us.
We have tons of, I mean, artificial intelligence will pull up, the keyword artificial intelligence will pull up literally several hundred companies.
I will have fun with that.
Amazing. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. We will, by the way, send out the confirmation for next month's event along with the documents that Bob's talking about and the link to the video. So thank you. Anyone else? Human, I don't know if you stepped away or if you're back. There he is. I thought, wait, Human, I don't see you. Oh, maybe he's away. Okay, because I know Human was going to make an announcement. But why don't we do this? Let's go into a quick breakout room, discuss yeah, just all kind of the information overload that Don gave us, meet each other, connect. Let me even out the breakout rooms, and then we'll go, and then we'll come back, and then we'll do it again. Human? Okay, Human, I was just teeing it up for you. Oh my God. What are you doing? Human, call me if you come back. Oh. He's still